Every year, millions of visitors come to Yosemite National Park. They come to see towering granite cliffs, ancient sequoia trees, and waterfalls that plunge hundreds of feet into mist. They come for adventure, for beauty, for a connection with nature that feels lost in modern life. Most of them leave with photographs and memories, but some never leave at all. Since the park was established in 1890, over 1,600 people have vanished within its boundaries. Most are found: lost hikers who wandered off trail, injured climbers rescued from ledges, children who strayed too far from their campsites. But some are never found. They simply disappear into 750,000 acres of wilderness, leaving behind only questions, grief, and the haunting mystery of what happened in those final moments. This is the story of 3 people who vanished in Yosemite. 3 cases separated by decades, but connected by the same terrible unknowing. This is the story of those who walked into paradise and never walked out. Yosemite National Park covers 1,200 square miles of California's Sierra Nevada mountains. It's a landscape of extremes: soaring granite domes like Half Dome and El Capitan, deep valleys carved by ancient glaciers, alpine meadows that burst with wildflowers in spring, and dense forests where sunlight barely penetrates. The park reaches elevations from 2,000 feet in the valleys to over 13,000 feet at its highest peaks. It contains over 800 miles of trails, countless off-trail areas accessible only to experienced mountaineers, and vast stretches of backcountry where cell phones don't work and help can be days away. It's breathtakingly beautiful. It's also unforgiving. Weather can change in minutes. A sunny morning hike can become a whiteout blizzard by afternoon. Terrain that looks passable can hide deadly drop-offs. Rivers that seem calm can have currents strong enough to pull a grown man under. And the sheer size of the park means that someone who steps off a trail, becomes disoriented, and walks in the wrong direction can disappear into wilderness so vast that search teams might never find them. The National Park Service maintains detailed records of search and rescue operations. In Yosemite alone, there are approximately 100 to 150 search and rescue missions every year. Most end successfully: a lost hiker found, an injured climber airlifted to safety. But every few years, a case ends differently. The search is called off, the family goes home without answers, and another name is added to the list of those who vanished without a trace. These cases haunt the rangers who searched, the families who waited, and the communities that tried to help. Because in the age of GPS and satellite phones, helicopters and thermal imaging, how does someone simply disappear? The answer, uncomfortable as it is, lies in the nature of wilderness itself, in its size, its indifference, and its ability to keep secrets. Our first case begins on a warm July afternoon in 1997. Stacy Aris was 14 years old, visiting Yosemite with her father and a group from their church. They were staying at Sunrise High Sierra Camp, a backcountry camp accessible only by trail, about 9,000 feet up in the park's high country. It was Stacy's second day in the park, and she was excited. This was her first real backpacking trip, her first time in the High Sierra. On the afternoon of July 17th, Stacy decided to take a short walk to photograph Sunrise Lake, a pristine alpine lake just a quarter mile from camp. Her father and the group were resting after the morning's hike. Stacy grabbed her camera, told her father where she was going, and set off down the trail alone. It was 2 p.m. The sun was bright, the weather perfect. The trail was well marked and short, a 15-minute walk at most. She was expected back within the hour. Stacy never returned. When Stacy didn't come back by 4 p.m., her father became worried. He walked the trail to Sunrise Lake, calling her name. No response. He checked with camp staff. Had anyone seen her? No one had. By 5 p.m., rangers were notified. By nightfall, a full search and rescue operation was underway. Teams scoured the area around Sunrise Lake, the trails leading away from it, the surrounding forest. They found nothing. No footprints off the trail, no dropped items, no sign of struggle. It was as if Stacy had walked down that trail and simply ceased to exist. The next morning, helicopters joined the search. Bloodhounds were brought in, following Stacy's scent from camp to the lake, then losing it completely at the water's edge. Search teams expanded their radius, checking every ravine, every cluster of trees, every possible place a lost teenager might have sheltered or fallen. Days passed, then weeks. Stacy's mother flew in from their home in Sausalito, joining the search, refusing to give up. Volunteers came from across California, combing the wilderness, calling Stacy's name until their voices went hoarse. But Yosemite is vast, and the area around Sunrise is particularly difficult terrain. Dense forest, interspersed with granite slabs, areas where tracks don't form, where someone could fall into a crack between boulders and never be seen. After 3 weeks, the active search was scaled back. Rangers continued to look. Hikers were given flyers with Stacy's photo, but the massive coordinated effort ended. Stacy's parents refused to accept that she was gone. They returned to Yosemite again and again, searching on their own, following tips from psychics, hikers who thought they'd seen something, dreams and hunches and desperate hope. They raised money for private search teams, hired investigators, never stopped looking. But nothing was ever found. No remains, no clothing, no camera, no evidence of what happened. Stacy Aris walked a quarter-mile down a trail in broad daylight and disappeared completely. She would have turned 40 this year. Her parents still don't know what happened to their daughter. Theories abound, as they always do in cases like this. The official explanation is that Stacy became disoriented somehow, walked off trail and succumbed to the elements, or suffered an accident that left her body in a location searchers couldn't reach. Perhaps she fell into a crevasse, or a hidden ravine, or into the lake itself and was carried away by underwater currents. Perhaps she was attacked by a mountain lion, though no evidence of this was ever found. Or perhaps something else happened, something we don't want to consider. Yosemite, for all its beauty, has its dark corners. In the 1990s, there were reports of transients living in the park's backcountry, avoiding rangers, staying off-grid. Could Stacy have encountered someone with bad intentions? The FBI investigated this possibility, but found no evidence. And then there are the theories that venture into stranger territory. Theories about mysterious disappearances in national parks, patterns that some researchers claim point to something beyond simple accidents. But speculation, however compelling, doesn't bring answers. It just fills the void left by unknowing. Our second case takes us forward to 2005 and the disappearance of a man who knew Yosemite better than almost anyone. Michael Allen Fishery was 51 years old, an experienced hiker who had been visiting Yosemite for over 30 years. He knew the trails, the backcountry, the potential dangers. He was fit, prepared, and respectful of the wilderness. On June 15, 2005, Michael set out on a solo hike from Hetch Hetchy Reservoir, planning to hike up to Till Mountain and return the same day. It was a challenging route, about 25 miles round trip with significant elevation gain, but well within Michael's abilities. He told his wife Victoria his route, his expected return time, and set off early in the morning. That was the last time anyone saw him. When Michael didn't return that evening, Victoria contacted rangers. A search began immediately. Rangers hiked Michael's planned route, checking the trail, the summit, the areas around Till Mountain. They found nothing. The next day, search teams expanded, using helicopters, search dogs, and experienced trackers. Michael's car was still at the trailhead, his gear inside, his itinerary marked on a map. Everything suggested he'd gone where he said he'd go. But there was no trace of him on that trail or anywhere near it. Days of searching turned into weeks. Helicopters with thermal imaging flew grid patterns over the area. Ground teams covered hundreds of square miles. Other hikers were interviewed. Had anyone seen a man matching Michael's description? A few reported possible sightings, but none could be confirmed. Michael Fishery had vanished into the same wilderness he'd hiked for 3 decades. What made Michael's disappearance particularly puzzling was his experience. This wasn't a novice hiker getting lost. Michael knew how to navigate, how to signal for help, how to survive if stranded. He was carrying water, food, and basic survival gear. The weather that day had been good. No sudden storms, no extreme temperatures, and Till Mountain, while remote, isn't so isolated that a hiker in trouble couldn't eventually find their way back to a main trail. Yet Michael disappeared so completely that despite extensive searches, not a single piece of evidence was found. No backpack, no water bottle, no clothing, no sign of an accident. It was as if he'd been erased from the landscape. Victoria and Michael's family organized their own searches, returning to Yosemite repeatedly, hiring private search teams, offering rewards for information. Nothing ever surfaced. In 2013, 8 years after his disappearance, Michael Fishery was declared legally dead. But his family still has no answers. The theories in Michael's case mirror those in Stacy's. Accidental death in an inaccessible location. Medical emergency that led him off trail. Animal attack. Foul play. Some speculate that Michael may have fallen into one of the area's many deep cracks or crevices, spaces between boulders where a body could rest unseen indefinitely. Others wonder if he suffered a sudden medical event, a heart attack or stroke that caused him to wander disoriented before dying in a location searchers missed. And some suggest darker possibilities, that Michael encountered someone with bad intentions, or that something else happened that we don't fully understand. But speculation isn't evidence, and without evidence, Michael's disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, a question mark in a wilderness that keeps its secrets well. Our third case is the most recent and perhaps the most disturbing because of how preventable it might have been. In July 2021, Joel Thomasson, a 31-year-old man from Denair, California, set out on what should have been a straightforward hike. Joel was visiting Yosemite with friends, staying at Upper Pines Campground in Yosemite Valley. On the afternoon of September 6th, Joel told his friends he was going for a solo hike to the top of Yosemite Falls, one of the park's most popular trails, hiked by thousands of people every year. The trail is well maintained, clearly marked, and heavily trafficked. Joel was a capable hiker, in good physical condition, and the weather was perfect. He set off around 2 p.m., expecting to return before dark. He never came back. When Joel didn't return to camp that evening, his friends initially weren't too concerned. Perhaps he'd stopped to watch the sunset or taken a side trail to explore. But as night fell and Joel still hadn't returned or answered his cell phone, worry set in. They contacted rangers. A search began that night, focusing on the Yosemite Falls Trail. Rangers hiked the trail with flashlights, calling Joel's name. No response. At first light, the search intensified. Helicopters, ground teams, search dogs, all deployed to find Joel. And here's where the case takes a strange turn. Within 24 hours, searchers found Joel's car at the trailhead, but inside the car, they found something unexpected. Joel's cell phone, wallet, and keys. They were sitting on the driver's seat as if he'd come back to the car and left them there intentionally, or as if someone else had placed them there. This discovery changed everything. If Joel had made it back to his car, why hadn't he contacted his friends? Where did he go afterward? And if he didn't make it back, how did his belongings get there? The search expanded beyond the Yosemite Falls Trail. Teams scoured Yosemite Valley, checked the Merced River, searched every trail and road Joel might have taken. Days passed with no new leads. Joel's family arrived, distributing flyers, organizing volunteer searches, pleading for information. Weeks turned into months. Tips came in, possible sightings, theories, speculation, but none led anywhere. In the months following Joel's disappearance, search efforts continued sporadically, triggered by new tips or areas that hadn't been thoroughly checked. But as of today, Joel Thomasson has never been found. His family still searches. His mother returns to Yosemite regularly, hiking trails, posting updated flyers, refusing to give up hope that someone, somewhere, knows something.